For we know that all things work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Very well-known passage. All things work together for the good. He's telling us that in the midst of your groaning, God's using that for his good. We see it in Jesus. He was beaten. His beard was torn from his face. They put a crown of thorns on his head. They scourged him. They drove nails through his flesh and into that tree, and he died for us. And he did the greatest work that was ever done because God was using all things to work together for the good to those that love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And if you love God and you're called according to his purpose, then God's able to take anything you go through and use that for your good. As my late wife was going through a particular difficult time, she was diagnosed with cancer in September of 2011. She passed away in December of 2012. So just a year and a couple of months. When she first took the treatment, it was a targeted gene therapy, new thing, and it removed, and so many of you guys may remember this, it removed all evidence of the cancer. And we really thought that God had healed her because it had just been removed. This is stage 4 lung cancer she had. And you take a PET scan, and when you see the spots on the lung, but you also see the other spots on the body. Well, all of them were gone. And we had even scheduled for her to have the lobe removed that had the cancer in it, because the doctor was like, even though you're healed, we want to remove that lobe, because if it's going to come back, that's where it's going to come back at. But she had to do a PET scan before she had that lobe removed. And they found a spot. They found it in her esophagus this time. So the cancer had returned, or the evidence of the cancer that was in her body was still there. And one night, particularly vulnerable night, she's laying on her bed and she looks at me. We're sitting there together, and she says, I better not find out that I'm going through this because of you. What she meant by that was, that God uses our sufferings. All things work together for the good to those who love him, those called according to his purpose. I better not find out this is for your good and not mine, that I'm not going through this for you. But it is such a true statement. And we all know that all things work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. God's doing something good in your suffering. Even if your suffering is beyond what you can imagine, even if your suffering now is just really, really hard, know that God's got a plan and a purpose. God's doing something in it. It's not for nothing. The day will come where there will be no more suffering.